here we are again on our recorded classes. Hope you're all well. Sorry not seeing you in person this week, but we'll do the class online again. So if we just start just with the feet hip width apart, just start to think about where those feet are on the mat. Just starting to think about that breathing, so inhaling and exhaling, just try and get a nice pattern going with your breath flow. Okay, and keeping that nice rhythm with the breathing. We're just going to start just warming up through the body. We'll start with the head. So as you breathe, just gently take the head around to the side. Remember, don't allow the shoulders to follow. You want to keep the shoulders nice and still so they're pointing forward. This time with that breathing. We'll do one more to each side. And then back into centre. And then we'll just take the shoulders in some big circles forwards to start with. So make sure the arms are nice and heavy. So the shoulders feel as if they're lifting the arms rather than those arms stiffening and pushing the shoulders up. So just taking the shoulders, big circles forward. And again, starting to focus on that breath flow and keeping a mental note of where your feet are on that mat, so we're not going off to the outside or the inside of the feet. We'll do one more big one forward. Take a breath, and then we'll start circling the shoulders back. As you're circling your shoulders back, really focus on opening up through the front of the chest. So, especially if you've been over a desk, just really opening those shoulders. Almost feel as if you're trying to touch your shoulder blades together at the back, and then just allowing them to slide. So touching them together, allow them to slide. So they're coming together, sliding down the back as a pair. We'll do one more. So think about the shoulder blades coming together, sliding down, and then just allow the shoulder blades to stay slid nicely down the back. Okay, so we'll just come on to your pelvis. So we'll just start to take those hips round in some nice big circles, making sure those knees are nice and soft, ankles are nice and soft, and feet are just kind of gently absorbing that movement. So if you think about having an imaginary hula hoop, and you're just taking it round in a nice circle shape. And then have a change of direction. Again, think about nice soft knees, so you're really kind of absorbing the movement with the lower part of the body. Good. Okay, and then back into the centre again. Okay. And then we're going to just take your feet out into a wide stance. And we're just going to come down just into a squat. As you're squatting, really focus on what's happening through the body. So you want to think about each part of the body kind of articulating. So don't bend your knees too soon. So think about starting to sit, then allow the knees to bend. And as you're coming up, imagine you're being pulled up by a piece of string on the head, so you're coming up nice and straight. And again, starting to think about everything lowering towards the ground, knees the last thing to bend. And again, head being pulled up towards the ceiling. And we'll do one more. So again, think about bending the hips, then the knees. And head being pulled back up towards that ceiling. Good. And then just walk your feet back in, so the hip width apart again. Okay, so we'll just come down onto your roll downs now. We're going to start at the end of the mat, so you're able to come down onto your mat. So So we're going to do 2 full roll downs, and then we're going to do half roll down, so we're down, and then we're going to walk hands out onto the mat. So in your own time, inhaling, exhale, tuck the chin, just unstack that spine, 1 vertebra at a time. Really take the time just to feel what's happening through that spine. Nice and soft through those knees, so you don't want to be pushing the knees out behind you. And then when you get to the bottom, give the arms a bit of a swing. Inhale, as you exhale, restacking that spine 1 vertebra at a time. Take a nice breath in as you get to the top. Make sure you come with the crown up towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, tuck that chin, and stack the spine. Start to think about just tucking the tummy button up a little bit, just towards that spine. Just starting to get that centre working a little bit. Arms in a nice circle or a nice swing, just loosening those shoulders up. And then restack that spine. Remember, as you're coming up, think about coming up. Nice long neck. Inhale, exhale. Remember, for your third one, we're just going half the way down. So when you get to the bottom, you're going to just walk those hands away and just gently lower yourself down onto the mat. So we're just going to give the spine a little stretch before we move onto our backs. So nice and soft with the feet, make sure there's no pushing down or lifting of the feet. So you want to just think about from the waist down, just switch off. You can just drop the heels out like so if your feet don't want to behave. Have your arms in your diamond position. Remember, tuck the tummy button away from that mat. Imagine you've got a pin or something hot coming through the mat. And then we're going to think about drawing a line with the nose along the mat, so we're coming along through the spine. Keep that tummy button tucked and just gently stretching. Just work within your own body. You shouldn't feel any pain in that lower back. If you do, just check that your tummy button's tucked. So by tucking the tummy button away from the mat, we're just switching on all those muscles in the centre and just protecting that lower back. So once again, inhale, switching off the lower body, exhale, draw a line with the nose, drawing back the tummy button, and gently stretching. We're going to do one more, so gently lowering back down onto the mat. Inhale, exhale, draw that line with the nose, so you're coming long, draw back the tummy button. And pushing up. Take a breath, gently lowering down. Okay. So we're going to roll over onto our backs. So bring feet so they're hip width apart. So you want to have your knees, hips and feet in line to make sure your feet aren't wide and that your knees aren't coming back towards each other. So you can have that imaginary soft ball between the knees just to make sure that you keep them in the correct alignment. Just walk the shoulders down to the mat. And just take a few seconds just to really allow the chest just to gently open up. You can take the arms out into a T shape if you've got space. And just notice where your shoulders want to go, whether they feel as if they're lifting off that mat. If they are, just take some breaths, just allow everything just to feel as if it's just melting down into that mat. So you're inhaling. As you're inhaling, you're feeling the ribs just gently coming out to the side. As you exhale, you're feeling them just gently coming in towards each other. And as you're breathing, we're just going to find that neutral pelvis. So just gently rolling the hips between those two positions. So as you're rolling the hips down towards your feet, you'll feel a little arch in the back. As you're rolling them up towards the head, you'll almost feel a push down through the mat. And even for this movement, try and think about the equal movement and symmetry of your pelvis. So try not to allow it to tilt, so feel as if you've got don't feel as if you've got more weight down one side of the pelvis than the other. So really just try and focus on controlling that movement. If you've got any asymmetry through your pelvis, you might find that you assume that position in your exercises. So really just try and focus on equal feel through both sides. And then we'll just make the movement a little smaller and smaller each time, just until you come to rest just somewhere that's nice and comfortable for you, so you don't want to be forcing yourself into an unnatural position. And then we're just going to keep the shoulders on the mat, keep the arms out in your T shape, and just going to allow your hips and your knees just to gently roll over to one side, making sure that those shoulders stay nicely down onto that mat. Just allow the knees just to stay there for a couple of seconds. And then inhale as you exhale, drawing the knees over to the other side, thinking about starting to switch on through that centre now, so you're almost feeling as if when you bring your hips back, when you bring your knees back over, almost feel like you're drawing your hip diagonally towards your rib. So you're feeling those abdominal muscles starting to work. So again, remember keeping nice and flat with those shoulders. We don't want the shoulder lifting. And again, drawing back, using those abdominal muscles. And we're just going to go once more over to the other side. Keep the shoulders nice and stable. And drawing back into the centre with those knees. Okay, so we're going to come into your single leg circle now. So you can either keep your supporting leg in a bent position, and take your opposite leg into a straight position, and we're coming round into your circle. If you are keeping your leg bent, as you're circling, make sure that that knee isn't following, so that supporting leg stays completely still. Or if you prefer, if you want to challenge a little bit more, have your opposite leg straight, but make sure again that it's not tilting out. So if you put your hand on your hip, if your leg rotates out, you feel that hip move out to the side as well. So that leg straight, and then we're coming into your circle. I want you to keep your arms in your T shape, because I want you to try and focus on that shoulder stability as well. So really focusing on keeping your trunk in the centre of your body nice and still. So just focusing on this leg moving. So draw back with the tummy button, use that breath flow, have a little check on that hip, make sure that it's not rolling out to the side on your supporting leg. Okay, we're going going to do one more in that direction. And then a quick draw up with the knee. Little breathe out, make sure in your, you've got in your mind which way you went last time, so you're not going to be repeating that. And then extend that leg out, check your hip, and off we go in the opposite direction. So you'll find that this arm position is really effective for keeping that body still. Draw back with that tummy button so the centre is nice and stable, and make sure that you're breathing. Okay, we're going to go 3 more. Keep breathing. Have a little check on that supporting your leg. Make sure your hip's not cheating and the leg's not rotating out. Last one. And have a breath with that leg. Okay, so same thing, you can either have your supporting leg bent or you can have it straight. Make sure those hips are nice and level. Make sure your arms are in that T shape. So make sure the palms are facing up when your arms are out in your T shape. Drawing back that tummy button, nice and straight with the leg. And pick a direction and off we go. So breathe, so inhale for a circle, exhale for a circle. Draw back with that tummy button, make sure that your pelvis is not getting involved in this movement. Try and keep a nice even circle movement. Doesn't matter how big or small your circle is. The bigger your circle, the more difficult it is to control it. And you want to try and keep each movement a perfect circle. Okay, we're going to do 3 more. 3, 2, 1. And quick rest of that leg, so bring that knee up towards the chest. Remember, make sure that you remember which way you're going. And again, T-shape the arms, legs straight, and off we go. So drawing back the tummy button, really working hard with that centre. Remember, it doesn't matter about the size, but try and keep the size of the circle the same. So you're not doing one massive one and then one tiny one. Good, keep breathing. I'm going to do 3 more. 3, 2, 1. And rest. So you bring both knees up towards the chest. And we'll roll around. Give that back a little bit of a massage. Good. Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 separate options for your next exercise. So hopefully you'll all go for the second option. So first option is your dead bugs. So you're going to come into your tabletop position, your double knee fold, and we're going to be taking one arm, one leg down towards the mat. So remember the arm and leg that aren't doing the movement need to stay completely still. So you can either come into your dead bugs or you can come into your single leg stretch. So you're starting off in a little sit-up position, one leg clasped towards you, one leg straight. Okay, and then we're going to go into your single leg stretch. So I'm just going to put my hair falling out. So whichever whichever exercise you're going to do, we're going to do a little timed sequence. I'm going to count you and we're going to do sets of 10. I'm not going to tell you how many, so we'll carry on until I say stop. So either into your double knee fold position for your starting, or into your single leg stretch start position. So when you're ready, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Rest for a second, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and rest for a second, and off we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Rest for a second, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Rest, and last lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and rest. Bring those knees up towards the chest, have a little roll around. In your own time, you can move onto all fours into your cat position. So, giving that back a stretch, so think about your hips opening and closing, so bigger angle and smaller angle. And then, when you're ready, push back into that child's pose. To our side now. So think about your sideline position, keeping those hips nicely stacked over each other. If you've got your cushion at home, you can pop your cushion underneath. And remember, if you tend to roll forward, keep your hand there. You're much better to have your hand there than exercise in the incorrect position. Or if you feel fairly balanced, you can have your arm up towards the ceiling. So we're going to start off with your single leg lift. So nice long legs. We're going to just come up and then slowly back down again. So in between, I want you to try and just hold position for about 4 or 5 seconds, longer if you can, and back down again. So you don't want to be going much more than hip height, and slowly back down. Draw back with that tummy button and slowly back down. So as you're coming down with the leg, make sure that you're not just dropping it down like that. You've got to think about moving nice and slowly, nice and controlled. So draw back with the tummy button, breathe, and slowly back down. So you can almost think about coming back down in 4 or 5 little stages so that you're controlling that movement. So as you're coming up, you're holding for maybe 5 or 6 seconds, however long you can, and then just count yourself back down in stages. nice and long. Make sure the hips stay stacked over each other so you're not drawing that hip up towards your leg. So you'll see when I do that, when I bring my hip up towards my ribs, you can see my leg goes higher. So if your leg's coming high, then you can kind of almost be guaranteed that your hip is coming up towards your rib. So really important to keep that top leg nice and long. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. So holding, drawing back with the tummy button, coming down in stages. And last one, hold, keep that hip stacked, and back down again. Good, okay, give the knees a bend, give your hip a bit of a massage if it's burning a little bit. So I'm going to come into your Highland clam this time. So we're going to be bringing your legs into your clam position, and then we're going to be tapping in front, behind, back to your start position and down. So you're coming as your normal clam. Make sure you don't roll back as you open your clam. So again, you don't want to come much more than hip height with your knee. If you open too far, you'll end up rolling back and you'll be out of your neutral position. And then you're going to tap in front without rolling. So tapping behind, back to the centre, and closing again. So remember, keeping still. This is quite a good one to have your hand on your hip actually, so you can't. So you can feel where your hip is, what your pelvic position is like. So you're making 4 movements. So you open, tap, 3, 4, and then back to the beginning again. So open, tap, tap, replace the foot and close. Tap, tap, back to the centre and close. Okay, we're going to do 3 more. So tap, tap, back to the centre, close. 2 more, keep that hip stacked, tap, tap, centre, and last one. So tap forward, tap back, and back to your starting position. Okay, take those legs out straight, give yourself a bit of a massage on that hip. We're going to swap onto your other side. So starting off with your legs nice and straight and making sure that your hips are nicely stacked over each other again. So remember, if you have a tendency to roll forward, have your hand in front of you. Or if you're fairly balanced, you can have your hand up towards the ceiling, and then off we go. So you're holding, and then slowly back down again. Draw back with the tummy button. Hold. Remember, you're coming down almost in stages, so you're really controlling that leg. Inhale, exhale, lift. Remember, we don't want to be going much higher than hip height, or we'll be having that hip drawing up towards your rib, which you don't want. You want that top leg nice and long. holding, and then you're coming down in those imaginary stages, just so you've got control over that leg. Think about the breathing, draw back with the tummy button, and then imaginary stages as you're coming down, so you've got that control. Have a check on your foot, make sure, on your leg, make sure it's not creeping up. Keep it nice and long through the sides of the body. Hold, and then those stages. We're going to do 3 more. So keep nice and long through that leg. Hold, draw back the tummy button. Make sure that hip's not drawing up towards, that rib, hip, isn't drawing up towards your rib. Get there in the end. Slowly down. 2 more. Nice long leg hold, drawing back with that tummy button, breathing. Come down in that imaginary stage. And the last one, make sure your hips not starting to creep up. Good, and slowly back down. Okay, so give that hip a bit of a rub. If you've got a bit of a burn going on there. Then we'll give it a little bit more of a burn. So you're going to draw the feet up towards your bum, and again you can have your hand either in that position, either up towards the ceiling, or you can have it on your hip if you want to keep a little check on what's going on through your pelvis. Okay, so we're going to open, and then we're going to tap, tap, back to the centre, and off you go again. And we don't want any rolling back or rolling forward of that hip. So keep an eye on what's happening. So keep drawing back with the tummy button just to switch on that centre. Just hold you there in that position. Breathing. Tap, tap. As you're coming back into centre, try and get your foot to land with the ball of the foot in the same position as where it took off. So you've got quite a good idea of where your body is. Good. Tap, tap. Back to the beginning. We're going to do 3 more of those. Two more. Try and hold that position through the body for your last 2. Last one. And back to the beginning. Good. Give that hip a little bit of a massage. And then we'll just roll over onto our back again. So just take the legs out straight. And just take the arms up over the head, just come into that nice full body stretch. Just take some breaths. Then bring those arms back over the head. Okay, so we've worked quite hard on your glutes today, so and those hips have been working. So we'll just bring the leg into a cross position. And we'll bring the knee up towards the body. And then we'll take your opposite leg straight. You can can just lift your head and shoulders, and we'll just come into a little bit of hamstring stretch. You can just bring your toe towards the body, just stretch off the back of that leg, and then you're getting a double stretch there. And then we'll swap onto your other leg. So again, start off by bringing that leg up towards the body, and then take the opposite leg straight, and then bring those toes towards the body. Just come into a bit of a hamstring stretch as well. Good. And back down again. Bring your knees into your rest position. Going to take the arms round as if you're giving yourself a big hug. And then you're just going to gently roll the body from side to side. So if you're a little tight in your shoulders, you might find this one a bit uncomfortable, but try not to tense up the shoulders. Just try and let the movement happen. Keeping the bottom of the body still, so the lower part of the body stays nice and still. And then back into the centre again. Okay. So just gently roll over, back onto your hands and knees again. Just come into your cat position and just give back a nice stretch off through your cat position. Your cat stretch, sorry. And let the head hang nice and heavy towards the mat as you're bringing that back up. And then as you drop back down, make sure you're not pushing your neck back. You just want it just to come into a gentle position. And then just bring the back into your neutral position. And we'll make our way back into the standing position just by tucking those toes underneath. And then walk the hands towards your feet. And then just stay down for a couple of seconds, give those hamstrings an extra stretch, and just take the weight forward a little bit. And then you come in just up into your standing position just by restacking that spine nice and gently. Good. Well done everybody. Hope you enjoyed the class, and we shall see you again next week for a recorded class, hopefully in another couple of weeks, and we might see each other in person. But until then, I will see you on screen again next week. Have a good week everybody. Bye.